There is fun everywhere, even in tragedy, especially in tragedy, actually. And so whilst, everyone was sort of chucking roses on the coffin, the two ladies were giggling. And so, yeah, there is fun even in tragedy, I think. We were growing at 1,000% the 3 years prior to that. And so it was like Usain Bolt going for a walk. We had an office that had an ensuite toilet we weren't allowed to use because at the time, we had one remote employee, but in the office, the first few people were male. And just going for a pee in the toilet would create such an echo sound that you could hear it on the call. My cat is an indoor cat. It's never seen a predator in its life. But when we put down food and he's completely motivated by food, he'll go straight to the food and then he'll check just to make sure that whilst he's eating, there's no predators around. No one's taught him to do that.
So I'm Alex Ward. I am a messaging expert. I'm a keynote speaker and the founder of Core Story. And I work with leaders and brands to help them speak with guts, heart, and real clarity. And essentially, that's what this podcast is all about. It's an extension of that. Hello and welcome to another episode of Naked at the Top. Today's guest is the co-founder of Choice Energy, one of the fastest growing energy businesses in Asia Pac. But what I love is that amidst all that scale and success, he still draws sharks in meetings and starts trivia games from his desk. He's sharp, he's hilarious, and by the end of this, you'll probably want to frame a shark drawing too. Alan, welcome to Naked at the Top.
Thanks, Alex. Good to be here. I think that's a very polite way of saying Alan is good at business, but an absolute child. Yeah.
But that's the best part, right? You know, all the guests I've had on here, or I would say most of them, talk about how important it is to have fun in everything that you do. And from speaking to people before this interview that knows you, you definitely seem to fit that.
We had a presenter or trainer came in last Wednesday. Trish, who it was more just an awareness thing about neurodiversity, which is something I'm definitely across. And we had to do a self-portrait. And at the beginning, and the whole idea of it was to get people's reactions. So some people knew exactly what to do, and some people didn't know what to do, and they had further questions. And it was just an example to show how our minds work. And I started, it's interesting you said I draw sharks, so I've at least already started one on this meeting, but I've been looking for. This is my self-portrait I'm still working on, so I'm obviously colouring it in. So she only gave us like 2 minutes or something, but I'm still doodling as I'm on calls. And this stands for be kind, have fun, and never give up. So yeah, the fun things first for me. That's the thing. So yeah, I definitely subscribe to that. Try and have, because there is fun everywhere, even in tragedy, especially in tragedy. Actually, there's my wife's friend passed away sadly last year, and she was they're sort of best friends, three of them, and the third person followed the wrong hearse and so she was going down the freeway down wherever it was. And she was thinking, hang on a minute, her grave can't be this far away. And so whilst, everyone was sort of chucking roses on the coffin, the two ladies were giggling. And so, there is fun even in tragedy, I think. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's why, I love stand-up comedy. And a lot of that is, finding the humor in some of those dark moments and things. And people tend to love it, apart from a few that might complain about it.
Yeah.
Now, I've been told that one of your biggest bugbears is people mispronouncing things. So I just wanted to check, you do realize that you're being interviewed by a Scot, right?
Well, actually, I'm a wannabe Scot. So I think your accent, I would love to have your accent. So I think in the day and age where people can identify as who they want to be, I'm allowed to identify as Scottish. And my blood is half Scottish, quarter Irish and quarter English. So whilst I'm very obviously English, my heart's always been Scottish. And so I'm very envious of your pronunciation.
Well, you're actually just as Scottish as I am because I'm half and half English, half Scottish. So there we go.
There we go. You're more English than me by blood.
Yeah. So could you tell us a little bit about Choice Energy and what you do there, Alan?
Yeah, absolutely. So we started in October 2013, and we help other businesses to use less energy from the grid and pay less for the energy that they do use. We do that in a load of different sort of very, very geeky ways. In the same way, Alex, like my accountant, very good at his job, but he gets really very excited about there's another tax break that we can get here, and I'm like, Adam, I really like you, and I'm glad that you're a geek, but I don't care, and that's pretty much what most of our over 13,000 business customers that we have. Most of them just go, okay, geeks, thanks. I'm glad you're excited about electricity. I'm not, just make the bill smaller, reduce my OpEx. So that's what we do. And so you sort of alluded to at the start, we've gone through some very rapid growth up until sort of 2020, and then COVID hit, and we did grow, but we were growing at 1,000% the 3 years prior to that. And so it was like Usain Bolt going for a walk. That's what it felt like. And which is not in our nature. And pleased to say we're very much back to that very accelerated growth level now. So around about 65, 70 people, so about 70% of them are salespeople. So we are a sales service organization. Yeah, we're very lucky in that, because all industries use electricity, we get exposure to the egg industry, the restaurant industry, the farming or agriculture, and you get to different automotive. You get to know different industries, and they've all got their sort of style and quirks, and that's actually one of the most fascinating bits. It makes you feel good that you're helping another business, and I know the business owner of all the kind of curveballs that you get and the bad luck that you don't deserve, and then the good luck that you get that you don't deserve either. But it does feel good helping businesses with something that they're already doing, but then also getting to know their industry it's good fun. It's very good fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there a particular industry that you align to most? Have you got a favorite?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, maybe I think the automotive guys are pretty good because they're like the Australian expression, straight shooters. They don't mince their words. They've typically got a good sense of humor. I suppose they're in the business of helping people already with what they do, because we all drive cars or have cars or have vehicles, whatever. So I suppose I haven't really thought about that before. But yeah, they're normally good fun. And then I think probably the bakers are good as well. You have to be a certain type of person to get up at 4 a.m. And start baking bread. Yeah, I'm not saying they're mad, but they're definitely quirky, and probably enjoy interfacing with those two the most, I'd say.
Yeah, nice. And how did Choice Energy start? How did you get into it?
I knew nothing about energy beforehand.
Yeah.
I had a couple of sort of, I wouldn't call them false starts, but I wanted to do something in the UK. One with a friend of mine, one with my brother, and we never really got around to doing it. And again, those two things were in real estate and headhunting, which I've got no experience. I just wanted to start a business. My background is in software and software sales and leadership. And my business partner, Chris, said, I sent him a text saying, hey, we should start a business. And he said, I've got a plan. And of course he does. So he goes, I'll come around to your house. And he was in my kitchen at about 6 o'clock that evening, maybe 5:30. And he presented this plan, which he'd actually sent to Richard Branson, who had not replied to it at all. And Chris knew a little bit about energy through solar. So he was the CEO of a solar company. And he had this plan, and all it was going to take was $10,000 each, which was not evidently true, but that was the wish. And he said, "So what do you think?" And my wife, I think she was probably more adventurous about it than I was. She just said,
Right.
"You think you can do this?" And I said, "Yeah, it's, all I've got to do is, we'll build a sales organization. I know about this. So I don't need to be an energy geek." And so, yeah, she backed me, and I started it with Chris, and yeah, away we went.
Yeah, wow. And so were you surprised that she backed you, or was that quite usual for her?
Yeah, I reckon probably 98% of things she would say, "No, it's got to be done my way." Uh, I'm serious. Even buttering toast or making tea. Uh, well, she still refuses. She puts the sugar in. It's mental. She leaves the tea bag in and then puts the sugar in, and then takes the bag out and then puts the milk. That's. I got taught to make a cup of tea by a chef, and I disagree with her on that one, but um, which is why I make all her cups of tea. But yeah, no, she likes to have control over almost everything. But
Mhm.
certain things she recognizes that I've got more flair for, or more talent for, and she lets me. One of them's business and finance and stuff. So she goes, "Cool." Uh, she's a farmer's daughter who's an engineering geologist, and it can bore you silly about rocks. A very smart lady, but when it comes to sort of making money and that kind of stuff, it's just that does not float her boat at all. So she get
Mhm.
on with it,
Mhm.
which is great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And what was it like in those early days, those first few years?
really,
Start
really stressful. So
Yeah.
decided to quit my job as I was a sales director at Dell, and decided to quit my job. My son, our firstborn son, firstborn child was 12 months old, um, and so we were new parents without a real support network because we don't have any family in Melbourne, and yeah, to go and start up a business, and it was very hand to mouth kind of stuff, and uh, there was one. Don't get me wrong; it was very fulfilling as well. Like there's a big difference, Alex. I think to oh, here's someone in Silicon Valley has given you a target because of a share price, versus if you don't do this, then the people you employ won't get paid and they can't pay their mortgage. That's a
Mhm.
different type of purpose, and so um, that sort of motivation and it was far better, really, than
Mhm.
for me personally, but also all the responsibility that came with that. And yeah, there were times I walked home. Our office was very near my house, and I would sometimes just sit in my car and have a like cry through
Mm.
just exhaustion, um, and get it out because I didn't want to bring that home to my wife. Because she had really bad postnatal, and it's not can't do that with my wife. I just felt like I wanted to do it. So there were some dark moments, and but there was also it was great because I think a lot of the stuff that we have now were very well structured, very well run company. We mitigate as much risk as we possibly can. Whereas in the early days, uh, it we were a little bit looser, but didn't really have anything to lose. And so, our culture there was we would on a Friday afternoon we would go to the pub at 3:30, 4 o'clock, have some knock beers and uh, de-stress that way, connect that way, and um, yeah, it was a different time. We had an office that had an ensuite toilet that we weren't allowed to use because at the time we had one remote employee, but in the office, the first few people were male, and just going for a pee in the toilet would create such an echo sound that you could hear it on the call. So we weren't allowed to use it, uh, but it did because it was connected to the sewers. Every so often, the sewers would smell, and our whole office would stink of
Oh.
poo. And so I don't miss those days, but it it was rough and smooth is how I would
Yeah,
describe it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this sounds great.
Yeah, it was really, yeah. I did a lot of calls just with my AirPods in, just walking up and down the road that was adjacent to the office because it
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah. So you would just, what would you have to go and use a local cafe's toilet or something? If
Oh
you
no,
must have
was
needed.
it was in a shared office building, so there was which has
All right.
since been knocked down. To give you an example of as to how nice it was, uh, but yeah, it was needs must at the time. So
Yeah, startup life. So it's very different for you now, I imagine.
yeah, we were like St Kilda. We're on St Kilda Road now. We were in Richmond, which was kind of good for that knockoff beer, local sort of restaurants, and there's a little bit more happening in Richmond than there is in St Kilda Road. We're here because we're more corporate now, and it's easier for everybody to sort of get to, depending on whether they're down the peninsula or to the west or whatever and stuff. So yeah, it's a bit different now, but still a lot of fun. It's just a different type of fun. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. And amidst all the success and accolades that you've had, your daughter still thinks that you're big, old, and funny, doesn't she, Alan?
And my daughter is the hardest taskmaster, Alex. She the feedback is a gift. She is the most giving person I know. She holds me to account. She makes me play uh, K-pop Demon Hunters on the way to. And actually, if she goes too bad, she makes me play like Burger Dog from Bluey. Then I'll put on Flower of Scotland or like Fields of Athenry or just rugby songs. And so I will counter her. But her opinion of me probably is a good one, but she'll give me balance. She won't put me on a pedestal. That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, kids are great for that, aren't they? To keep us grounded.
Yeah.
I also have to listen to K-pop Demon Hunters on repeat, which is fun. Yeah, so I got to speak to your daughter, didn't I, ahead of the interview. And when I asked her if you were the boss at home, she said, "No, mum's the boss." And when mum's not there, I'm the boss. So she really does keep you humble, it sounds like.
Yeah, and you know what? Like there's in all good humor there is truth,
Yeah.
and it's just easier if you just do what they say, Alex. It's just easier. Just I could resist, but every time I think to myself, I don't want to die on that hill. In fact, there was a moment where rare moment when Jen and my wife and Grace, my daughter Gigi, they were having because she's like a mini version of Jen. Gigi,
Mm.
they were having this argument or something, and I wanted to go in to sort of keep the peace, and I felt this tug on the back of my t-shirt, and it was my son, who's the wisest of the family. Um, and I looked around and I said, "What are you doing, mate?" And he said, "Don't go in there. Let's go upstairs." I was just very wise. So I'm not ranked in the top two decision makers in the house. That's for sure.
You know who's boss. That's good. That's a good start. So everyone I spoke to ahead of the interview said that you're very funny and you bring a lot of humor to every scenario. Have you always been like that, Alan, growing up? Were you always the funny kid?
Funny, weird, definitely. But no, I do enjoy the lighter side of stuff.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
it's not. I wouldn't. I don't know if everybody would agree with whether I'm funny or not, but I definitely try.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Has it ever got you into trouble, your humor?
yes,
Yeah.
cool. Lots of times, and you know the worst part, the downside of trying to be lighthearted is when you misread the situation. Uh, so sometimes I have offended people, and in my youth, I think I did that recklessly and carelessly. In my since I've been a bit older, sometimes it's much rarer nowadays. But if it happens, that does almost devastate me. I don't want to insult someone. So yeah, occasionally I read the room wrong and say the wrong. But yeah, so you do pay the price, but most people are forgiving. Yeah.
It's hard, isn't it? Especially with humor, because everyone's got a different sense of humor. Like I've got quite a dark sense of humor, so I will laugh at quite dark jokes. But then I know other people would wouldn't enjoy it. So it can be quite difficult when everyone's got a different sense of humor. I remember when I came over here, you'll know British people are pretty sarcastic, and I've kind of stopped with the sarcasm because I spent my first couple of years in Australia just telling people, "Oh no, I'm just joking."
Yeah. Yeah, I find the same thing. So if I'm trying to wind somebody up, especially so not a kind of like knock joke or sort of traditional joke. If I'm trying to wind someone up, which is probably my favorite style of humor, if I can just draw people into a scenario and then they realize, this is ridiculous. I've trained myself to have a serious face, and so the sarcasm I often do with a serious face. And Australia, when I found the same thing when I first got here, Australians will take that as face value. And all right, he's obnoxious. The other thing they don't like, Alex, is they don't like giving you time to tell the joke. They're like, "Oh, so what's the punchline? What is it? What is it? No, 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 no." Whereas when I talk to my friends back home, they'll happily let me tell them a funny anecdote or a story or whatever, because even a joke, because they're looking for weakness. So the more I talk, the more opportunity they have for weakness. Uh, when it comes to the crescendo or the punchline or whatever, they can shoot it down, and they're very happy to give you the time. Where Australians are like they're very here and now. Yeah, they are. I think Aussies are great. It's just a different type of humor, isn't it?
Yeah, completely different humor. I just learned how to do stand up. It was over a 5-day period, and the comedian that was coaching us was like, "Get there quicker, get there quicker, get there quicker." I was like, "Okay, I'm trying."
Tough, isn't it?
It's really tough. So where did the obsession with sharks start?
I lived with my parents in Saudi Arabia, very, very young, and in the Red Sea they had uh, adapted trainers. They had like I think it was an aluminium or steel thing on the sole of their shoes, so that they wouldn't stand on stonefish, because you stand on one, the spike goes up. You stand on it again, then it's poisonous. And I don't know what the medical situation was like in Jeddah in the early 1980s, but and then they came back from snorkeling one time and said that they had seen a shark, and it caused their friend to have a panic attack or whatever. And that really triggered my interest. And then I remember them watching Jaws, and they watched Jaws, which probably is not the best parenting, but well, it would have been like 3 or 4 years old. 4 years old.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I know. So that's what started my capturing my imagination. And then when we moved back home to the UK in Bath, they bought me some books on sharks. So I decided to write my own book on sharks. So I had this folder. I was probably 6 years old, and it says Dr. Alan Gill on this like lime green folder. And I'd started plagiarizing from the shark books that I got, which came on to be a bit of a theme in my life, trying to work as little as possible to get the results I wanted. Yeah, it just went from there, and I just learned more and more about sharks. And I think, sort of alluded to neurodiversity earlier, the Asperger's in me, often you do find a specialism or some sort of obsession, and that was it for me in sharks, and it's never gone. It's got just built. And yeah.
I loved it when I was speaking to people ahead of this, when they were, all of them brought up sharks. Was it Daniela said that you drew a shark with a hat because she loves Jamiroquai. I just quite like it that you personalize it for people and you'll draw sharks in meetings and things. It's very unique.
Yeah, it's very odd, isn't it? So there's one of the sales managers here, Dave. I think he secretly likes my sharks, but publicly he goes, "Oh, is it another shark? Does it look the same as all of the other ones?" No. This one's, to your point, this one's like the headdress. They're like the Native American Jamiroquai lights. And when new people come in, I say to them, "Hey, by the way, you might have seen a few sharks around the office. If you would like, I can draw you a shark, but it has to be via request." Okay, so and then Dave will hear this and he'll come over and go, "Don't feel obligated. Don't do it. You don't need a shark. Why would you need a shark to be good at energy broking? Right? You don't need one." And then often someone will say, "Yeah, can you make it a Viking shark or whatever else it is?" And I enjoy doing that. Yeah, so it is odd.
So if you were to draw me a shark, how would you personalize it?
Well, it depends what you would want, but if
Mm.
if you said to me, you just do whatever you want, then I would probably try to incorporate some kind of podcasting shark, with a baseball cap and some over-ear phones and a microphone or something like that. Um, that, and a lot of the stuff I don't know how to draw, so I have to go and learn how to draw Viking, how to draw whatever, which is fun as well. So it's more of a challenge.
Does drawing help you, because you showed at the start, the drawing that you've got, does that help you kind of de-stress and concentrate, things like that? Has it got another role to play, or is it just purely for fun?
I know it does. So in meetings, a lot of people find it or guess that it's disrespectful. I won't do it in all meetings, but in meetings internally or with people that know me or that I'll happily draw whilst we are a discussion, and that helps me to concentrate in the meeting as well, because a lot of diagnosis goes around nowadays. But I've always just been bored of just professional, to the point conversation that goes on for anything longer than 20 minutes, really. Then I will start drawing, because I don't want to not be present in the room. And so by drawing, I am being present, but that means I can stay in the room for an hour and a half if I need to.
Yeah, so it might look like you're not listening, but in actual fact, that's helping you to concentrate on what's being said.
Yeah, absolutely. And it helps me to form an opinion on what's being said or a question. And as I say, with people that I'm familiar with, sometimes I won't even look up from the drawing. I'll just ask the question. I'm sure it's not best practice, but it does help me to be present. So it does have. And the other thing I like is it gives me another reason with my daughter. She's really good at art, and we have draw-offs. So we did, what did we do? We did a butterfly on the weekend, and we did a side-by-side, and we put down in the middle of the paper, Dad and Gigi. And my butterfly was easily better than hers. There's no doubt about it, right? But she managed to do a backdrop and where the butterfly had flown with some dotted lines. And then she knew who the judge was going to be. And at the top, she went, "I love you, Mum." She put that. So this.
She's smart.
Yeah. So I took it to my son, who would be objective about it. And he goes, "Dad's butterfly is easily better. Look at it." Yeah.
So it was a draw.
Drawing helps me to bond with my daughter, who wants 100% of everybody's time all the time. And so sometimes when you just can't be bothered to go to the park for the second time in the day or whatever, then I'll happily sit down and draw, because that's not too taxing for me.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice. Going back to your earlier career before Choice, so you mentioned before that you worked at Dell and you worked at Salesforce as well. Is that correct?
Yeah. So Dell, Salesforce, and Symantec were probably the three biggest companies that I worked at. And I also worked for a company called TradeShift, which was a startup, and went on to become like a Silicon Valley unicorn. And so I was with them for, I think it was 2.5 years. So I was the second sales employee there. That was quite interesting as well, because it was very well funded startup from Copenhagen whilst I was living in London. And I've had other jobs, but they would probably be the four sort of standout ones that I had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you learn from those different roles that you were able to take into your business? Because obviously you've gone from like a really big corporate to also a startup. Was there key things in each of those roles that you brought to Choice?
Yeah. Good. So I think like when regardless whether you're learning an instrument or playing sport or whatever it is, stand up, you'll see people that practice that discipline, and you'll pick up things from them that you think, I like that. When I play that, I'm going to do it that way. And you'll see things that they do and you think, that's not for me. I can't, I don't subscribe to that. And so from the software industry, I love the rigor that comes with targets, weekly meetings, appraisals, check-ins, support, education, training, development. There's a heap of really good practice that comes from software. And I want to sort of really give a shout out to the Americans, particularly the Californians. They work so hard. They work so hard. A lot of the sort of personal development when it comes to sales, I hear people saying, "Oh, not another whiny American accent," and I kind of say to them, "Guys, we live in the land of no worries. They have like 10 days holiday a year. They have a lot of national holidays, whatever, but you fired without any particular reason at any time in America. They don't have the that we have here. And so they work really, really hard. And so I think that in lots of ways they paved the way. And so working for their software companies, definitely learned a lot of that, and respect still to this day. I respect a lot of that. On the flip side, it's a load of crap. I get it. If you're a publicly listed company, you have to report to Wall Street or whichever exchange that you're on. To shareholders, you have to give forecasts and that kind of stuff. I understand that, but I would spend, for example, when I was at Dell, as a sales director, I had 7 or 8 things, 7 direct reports, and then one of those was a manager who had 6 reports. So I would spend easily 20% of my time getting a weekly forecast together. So that's 1 in 5 days. So I've really 4 days to coach, to support, to challenge, to nurture, and to make sure that things happen. That's ridiculous. I think so. We don't do any forecasting at Choice Energy. We focus on the process, and there's an expression: you marry the process, you divorce the results. So just because it went well, that's a good thing. Doesn't mean you're a superstar. There may have been some luck in there. Just because it goes badly and you're terrible at your job, you may have had some bad luck in there. What you do is you focus on, you look for success leaves clues. So you look at, how do we get to where we were? What could we do better to improve that process? How can we give people the right tools, environment, and support to enjoy what they're doing and to become more effective at it? Let's spend our time on that rather than worrying what we may or may not do. Who cares what we may do? We don't have shareholders. We're owned by myself and my business partner. So if we had shareholders, then I'm sure that that it's a luxury that we wouldn't be able to enjoy. I think that, and then the other one that really gets me is kickoffs, sales kickoffs. I mean, I enjoyed the corporate kind of camaraderie, but people that were going, I cut my veins open, I bleed yellow. I get it. People are really bought into the companies that they work for, and that's cool. I'm more like at Choice Energy, for example. I don't want anyone to say I bleed blue. I want people to say working here is fun, and it helps me with a balance and opportunity in my life and my career. And that's, for me, it's all about and I don't just say this, I've been through sort of leadership, mentoring and coaching in my time and stuff. And I really don't care about the money very much. Need it to, but I'm much more interested in the people. Like there's a guy we have in our Queensland office who wants to become a movie director. And that fascinates me. So when I catch up with him, I don't say, hey, how's your elevator pitch going? Or whatever. If he wants me to, we can talk about it. But I'm more like, so what are you writing at the moment? That fascinates me far more than anything else. So the whole sort of sales kickoff. So I remember going to one, Alex, and it was themed, as they all are, but it was themed around clocks. And before the kickoff, there's all these clocks going tick, 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 and like, audio visual was amazing and whatever. And like on the panel of the speaker, whatever, they're going, it's time, it's time, it's time. And its time was we're going to own, what was it? The targets had gone up 40% in Asia Pac, and we were going to own 20% of the market. The market was only growing at 6%. So what are we going to do? Why are our products so much better than all of our competitors? This is bollocks. It's just rubbish. I don't subscribe to it. Thanks for the cocktail and the nice hotel room, but and I do, the education sessions are good, but I just never bought into that stuff, and I don't run anything or anything like that here. More have a party at the actual year at the end of the calendar year, but I think it's a load of crap.
Yeah. So you're able to bring what you did like from other ones and leave what you didn't. And it sounds like you're much more vested in the team and the people to ensure you're helping them and connecting with them, which is not too dissimilar from a lot of the people that I've spoken to on the podcast. So there's definitely some similarities there. Oh, I struggle with that word. There we go. I've mispronounced the word for you, Alan.
Okay, I am keeping a tally, but there we go. That's fine. It's not the first. I'll give you a score at the end. But the other thing there, Alex, is it's not selfless, is it? So, like when we came out of COVID, we took the team up to the Sunshine Coast, and we just said, you can work or not work. Your target's still your target, but you can do as much or little work. We had a serviced office that we hired for 5 days, and then some people spent all their time on the beach. Some people spent 8 hours a day in the office, and then came out for dinner or whatever, because that's what I wanted to do. And everyone was really appreciative of, like, COVID was tough. Really, thanks for doing this to sort of welcome us back to work. But it's not completely selfless. You're going to or productive, knowing that you work for a company that cares about you. So we will make more money by investing in you anyway. It's not a charity, and I don't understand. I've worked in businesses that just can't comprehend that. They see that as a cost, not an investment. It's not selfless.
It seems like my husband's worked in the same company for 10 years, and people like that, it's unheard of. He's like, but they look after us. It's a great culture. Why would I go anywhere else? They pay well, like, all these different things. And it sounds simple, but sometimes we just, I think companies just forget that. Just look after your people and they'll look after your customers. It's quite basic.
Yeah. That doesn't the mad world of HR though. It's so easy to be judgmental, you sort of look at the things that come across, because as a director of company, I have to be aware of. I'm not involved in much, but have to be aware of it because I'm liable for people's well-being and safety. And some of the things you see, you just think, how is your life this? How have you added so much drama to your own life when you don't need to? But that's easy to be judgmental, and then you have a little look at yourself. How are you doing in your life, Alan? That's different. That's different. And so I do believe that people are the best and worst thing about business. People are both. They're both. So
yes, yeah. It is harder when I worked before I started my business and I'd manage a team. I used to find that so difficult because you managing people, it becomes a job in itself. It's not easy.
Well, yeah. I think it gets easy when you've got the right fit, though, Alice. I think when and sometimes you do get people that are talented, that are working hard, but they're not enjoying their job, because then we have whilst we have a lot of fun. Like if you wear a bad shirt into the office, before you get to make your coffee in the morning, someone's going to tell you about it. From personal experience, at least. But I think, but we are a high performance environment as well, and so we get some people that join us that are capable. They work hard, but they're not going to be in the top sort of 20% of performers, and that bothers them. But they're not willing to work hard enough or be patient enough to get in that position, and the fit's wrong for them. They would rather be a big fish in a little pond kind of thing. And so I think that fit, once you've got that, people feel understood, then managing people becomes a lot easier once you know that the fit is right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got to be the right fit, and that's why culture is so important as well. Alan, this podcast is called Naked at the Top, as you know. And I was telling you off camera, my last guest last week said, I reckon you could go deeper. So you're my guinea pig
Okay.
for this. So you've built this incredible business, you're leading a team, you're a dad, you're a husband, but when you strip all of that away, who are you underneath all those titles? Who's
Uh,
Alan?
yeah. Alan is a 9-year-old boy who wants to wind people up and help people. That's me. And that's why I love being a dad so much, especially the kids the age they are. That they're 8 and 10 years old, right? So I'm in my sweet spot. When they become teenagers and tell me to sort off, then maybe I'll play some golf. Maybe that will be Alan. I don't know, but um, yeah, I am a child, and I say to my wife, she is a poor. When she said she'll say, can you just be an adult for a change? And I say, but that's not my fault. You know, when we got married, you thought that you could change me, but you couldn't. And so, whose fault is that? My fault for not changing, or your fault for thinking that you could change me? And she'll go around in circles, so she just goes, go away. But yeah, that's who I'm mischievous and supportive. So I want to, if I'm helping someone, awesome, I feel good. Like even we have a cleaner lady, she's from Colombia, and she's really good fun. But when she's cleaning, I find myself cleaning the house because I feel guilty that she's cleaning and I could be helping her. So if I just do this bit, then that will make that bit easier for her. And so that's my natural sort of let's get involved. But at the same time, that's what happened last week. And at the same, she's pregnant. And I said to her at the end, she said, "Bye, Alan. Bye, Jenny." And I said, "Hey, do you mind me asking? Do you know if you're going to have a boy or a girl?" And it says that she's Colombian. And she goes, "It's going to be a little boy." And I said, "Oh, okay. And is your husband okay that you'll be calling the boy Alan?" And she was like, "Oh, you're such an idiot." And so that's me. In the same 45 minutes, I've managed to help and then wind her up. So that's Alan. Yeah.
Do you get joy out of making people laugh as well? Like you just seeing them smile.
Yeah. Especially people who won't go looking for fun, but they have it in them in abundance. So you've had a previous guest on here that you interviewed me about, who I had lunch with yesterday, and he has it in spades. It's right there. But depending on who he's talking to and stuff, he's very rarely the instigator. And so
Yeah, yeah.
with people like that, it's even more fun. Like my friend Ross, we've just started beginning a podcast he's in the UK. And he's always fun. He's always fun. So having fun with Ross, winding Ross up, there's probably less satisfaction than there is with somebody like Tal. It just when you can draw out what's just underneath the surface anyway.
Yes, yeah, be able to draw it out. It's funny what you said about your wife, what she said to you, because I do that sometimes. Like me and my husband joke around a lot, but sometimes I'll say to him, "Can you just not be silly just for a minute?" And I can tell by his facial expression if he's in a silly mood. And sometimes if I'm in a bad mood, I'm not in a silly mood, just don't. He's like, "Oh, but I can't help it." It's very similar.
It's definitely that.
When
Sorry, you go.
like, on you go.
Well, no, there is that definite Venus and Mars thing, isn't there? Like, there's something universal about. Like, I helped. There's a young guy in business, and he was nervous about networking events and presentations. And so, this last Saturday, we met in my office, and I said, "Okay, here's the thing. My cat is an indoor cat. Has never seen a predator in its life. But when we put down food, and he's completely motivated by food." We put down food, he'll go straight to the food, and then he'll check just to make sure that whilst he's eating, there's no predators around. No one's taught him to do that. That's just instinctive. And it's instinctive as humans. that if we go into an environment where we don't know anyone, there could be danger, because and so yeah, I think that when it comes to the Mars and Venus things, being parents, how many times you could say to everybody is the dad winds up the kids before bed. The dad spends 45 minutes in the toilet. When you were married, you didn't spend 45 minutes in the toilet. These are just universal things. And so that sort of Mars and Venus thing is accentuated, I think, in parenthood. You see it, a common thread throughout everybody. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So family obviously is a big anchor for you. We've talked a little about your wife and kids. How do you? I'm always interested in how people that are running successful businesses, how you, I hate the word balance, but how do you ensure that you're there for your family, you're there for the business? Like, what are some of the things that you have to put into practice?
I love a calendar. That helps. So even when we first started dating in London, my wife and I had a shared Google calendar, basically. And so inbox zero, I operate on that as well. So I've got maybe 7 in my inbox at the moment, but at the end of the day, I will have 0. So that's a discipline where, like, we're in on holiday in July, and kids are mucking around in the pool, and my wife was probably on social media or probably playing Candy Crush or something. And I was doing an email, and she goes, "Why are you working?" Well, because one, I enjoy what I do, and two, if I do this now, it means it won't be waiting for me when I get back, and the person I'm providing it for can now take action. They don't have to wait until I get back. And so
Mm.
the ball, and then once I've finished the email, I can sit back and enjoy my mocktail or whatever, knowing that I've got inbox 0. And so trying to keep the plate spinning is how I balance a lot of things. And been through some pretty challenging times recently. The other is I call my friends, I speak to people a lot. I've always done that, even when I was at uni. I would be on the phone on my mobile the whole time, just talking to people, and that helps me to bit of perspective. Also, pick up someone's joke, use it on everybody else, pass it off as my own. Big fan of that. But yeah, connecting so you don't get isolated.
Yeah. And that is quite uncommon, I think, because men do find it harder to do that than women, certainly. Like, I know my husband, he's rubbish at keeping in touch with people. But I remember when I spoke to Tal, you or was it you? I can't remember, but you and Tal speak to each other quite a lot, and I found that quite refreshing, because you don't often hear of men as much keeping in touch and always chatting on the phone. So yeah, it's good that you do that.
Yeah, he's the master at. You said you want to go deeper. Tal is the master at taking completely nonsensical conversation and going, but what does that mean? And going down another level, and we both know it's absolute tripe. We're talking rubbish. We're completely not wasting our time, because we're getting value and connection and all that kind of stuff. But we're talking about. There was one. How much does someone from the Cirque du Soleil earn, and how much should they earn? And why is their performance related? Is their pay performance related? Like, and how much should they earn? How important is their profession? We talked about that for 45 minutes, and neither of us know anything about it. Like, it's just it's ridiculous. But then you can go in saying to the next task, which might be like, I've got one at the moment. It's something to do with duplication of CRM data and then data cleansing. Data cleansing. And so that's going to take up so much energy for me, just to have that, just addressing that, because it bores the hell out of me. But it's okay if I've just talked absolute tripe on my lunch break with Tal. So I have to be, but he is the master of just letting it wander and go and go and go. And it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Where did you get to with Circus du Soleil?
We both agreed that we needed to do some more research, because both sides of the coin were theoretical. So yeah, there were various action points from the conversation.
Love it. Tom and I, with husband Tom's, had a lot of debates around football, soccer for the Australian listeners, but football players. And I always say it's ridiculous how much they get paid. And he's like, well, it's supply and demand. So it's not. So we've had a lot of debates around that. But he actually knows what he's talking about when it comes to football.
Well, I mean, they're entertainers, right? So in France, if you're a professional sports person, you get classed at 10% tax because you're an entertainer. So if you're a poet, you pay the same tax as a rugby player because you're both entertainers. And don't get me wrong, you can shoot the French down all day, like we did at Agincourt. But we can shoot them down all day. But some of the things I think they get right. And then, footballers. I mean, look, everyone wants to watch it. Sponsors want the money, so the money's there, so that's what they get, and that's what the market pays. Are they as important as a paramedic? No, but interestingly, when we had the pandemic and everyone had lockdowns, it was sports and entertainment got dispensation because it's actually really good for mental health, and so. Is that more important than a paramedic? You could go on and on, couldn't you? But yeah, they do earn a lot of money. They do.
Yeah, they do. I quite like going back to what you said Tal does. He's almost like a child in that respect. You know, my 2-year-old's just learned the word why. So it's almost like, yeah, but why? Yeah, but why?
Yeah.
So you could have a good conversation with my 2-year-old.
Well, I think Tal's hoping for is a dead end, but I'll never give him that. The worst we can get is how I genuinely have to go and do something that's business now. Yeah. So.
But then again, it's just proof of what I talked about, near the start of, how important it is to have fun and see the light and everything. So you've proved that. And staying on the topic of jokes, we are coming close to the end, Alan, but I have been told to get you to tell me your Noah Ark joke.
Oh no. Okay. Right. So this is why you asked. Okay, right. So Noah is a busy pillar of the community, and God says to him, "Hey, mate, sorry to interrupt. I know that you're busy and everything. Got a bit of a job for you. What I need you to do is build me a huge ark, like absolutely massive. It's got to be so big that we can fit all of the land animals 2 by 2." And the good news is your family and your mates, they can come on board as well. So that they're involved. But we need you to build this ark. And then what I'm going to do, because I'm not happy with what's gone on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flood the whole world. And then we're just going to start again. And Noah goes, okay, well, yeah, first of all, thanks for thinking of me. But okay, we'll get started. So they build the ark and they get all the animals on 2 by 2 and the God, true to his word, floods the earth. And after 40 days and 40 nights at sea, it's been pretty rough. It's been pretty, but the good news is the waters start to subside and land appears. And Noah and his family managed to dock the boat and get off and land. And God gives them a couple of days, Alex, because it has been rough, right? And he goes, "Hey Noah, how you going?" And he goes, "Look, I want to stress it again. Thanks for thinking of me. It has been rough. We're still living on the ark. We've got no house or anything like that. The sloths and the tigers have not been getting on, and there is animal shit absolutely everywhere. But the good news is we've found enough materials, we think, that we can start building a house tomorrow." And God goes, "Yeah, before you start on that, bit of a job for you." And Noah goes, "Go on." And he goes, "I'd like you to build me an ark." And he goes, "Can't we use that one?" And he goes, "No, don't worry. It doesn't need to be nearly as long as that one. It can be much shorter, but I do want it to be a lot taller. I don't know how many layers, probably about 20 stories. And it's got to be watertight because I'm going to fill it with fish." And Noah goes, "I'm not questioning you. I'm just trying to get a bit of clarification. when you say fish, surely they survived the flood, didn't they? And he goes, no, it's not any fish. It's specifically, it's carp. And he goes, what, they're like, oh, oversized goldfish? He goes, yeah. He goes, okay, just so we're on the same page, God, before I can build myself a house, you want me to build you a multi-story car park.
I don't get it.
The carp, the ark is 20 stories high. And it's filled with carp. Yeah. Never going to get that time back, Alex, ever.
I was hoping as you're telling that, I was like, God, I hope I get this joke.
It's terrible.
You make that up yourself, Alan?
No, well, it's a variation of my brother's joke.
Yeah.
He does it with, God going, very serious voice, all this. And I think it's much better if God and Noah just having, like a sort of a pub conversation about the end of the world. But yeah. In the same way as Tony Soprano has to deal with whether there's going to be a hit on his life, but there's also ducks pond.
Yes.
Yeah, I just
love that. Yeah, I love that.
I'm being asked to vacate my room, Alex.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. Can I ask you our last question?
Go on.
Yeah. All right. So I always end on, I kind of pass it on for the listeners. So what one insight for someone out there that might need to hear from you right now in terms of how to just keep going with their business?
You're doing things now that most people are not willing to do to achieve things that most people will never achieve.
Love it. It's a great piece of advice to end on. Thank you so much, Alan, for joining me on Naked at the Top.
You are very welcome. Thanks, Alex.